counter.
Yeah.
So you
All right,
might
yeah,
have to
we're
start it.
live. We're live finally. With give the people what they want. Give the people what they want, Shane. They want college football frenzy. They've been waiting all morning
Hey,
long
hey.
for college football frenzy to
You,
begin.
yeah.
The most popular
Do you
show
want to hit the intro again or no?
no, the most popular show according to both of our parents.
What's that?
I said our college football show is the most popular show according to both of our parents.
Yeah.
At least both of our parents find it to be very popular.
Yeah, at least they enjoy it.
Um, so yeah, we're talking college football playoff,
Yes.
and I think now I'm going live also on Instagram, which is good. Um, round three is a charm. So the first thing, and I titled it, "This might be controversial, but Alabama did not belong in the CFP," which they did not get into.
Yeah.
Um,
Agreed.
I think we both you agree on that.
Absolutely. I totally agree. They don't just because you're Alabama, like, no, you don't.
Yeah, and I think the teams. I'm sure you're pulling it up on your computer now.
Yeah.
Uh, um, the college football playoff to me is a combination about of the teams that played the toughest schedule that did the best, and then the teams who won their conferences or had a fantastic record. That maybe they didn't play in the SEC or the Big Ten, but they had a fantastic season. So Arizona State won their conference
Correct.
uh,
Convincingly, by the way.
convincingly.
Yeah.
Boise State won their conference.
Yeah.
Um, who else? Clemson won their conference. SMU did not, but they played very well, and they had been undefeated I think at that point.
Yes.
So I thought that they deserved to get in. And then I also think it's nice to have some teams that aren't the same teams over and over. I know, like the people from the SEC and the Big Ten are like, oh,
Crying.
we're better.
Yeah.
Maybe you are.
Dude. The Big Ten had 4 teams get in.
I
And
know,
it's
and
not the normal
the SEC
4.
got it, and the SEC got in
They
uh,
had 3.
three,
Yeah.
and the teams that didn't get in were Alabama, Mississippi.
Auburn, Ohio. I'm sorry, Alabama, Ole Miss. Oh, what were Shoot, I had it. Where is that? Freaking.
Oh, South Carolina was the other one.
SC. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. South Carolina, really? Like, I'm sorry, no.
Yeah. I just thought I actually thought they got it pretty good, right? The
Agreed.
only team that I thought, but they played Oregon tough in the Big Ten championship. That's why I thought they got in was Penn State, but I didn't think Penn State didn't have any huge wins, but they still only had 2 losses, and
Right.
they played Oregon probably the best anyone has played them all year long,
Other than Ohio State.
other than Ohio State, right?
Correct. Yep.
And look, to me, coming into it, and we'll go through it in a little bit, but I think they got it right. I think they got the seeds right. And you know what? Even if all those teams from the other conferences lost in the first round or their first game, who cares?
Right.
Like, cool, that will create more parity. Like
Yeah.
now they can
Yeah.
say in recruiting they got in, maybe more of those teams will be good. But you know what it is? The fan bases of the big programs, the
Sure.
biggest programs, do not like that. So
No, they do not. The ones with the money.
they do not like that at all, and they're very, very upset. And the coaches are. That's the other thing I think that's interesting is that coaches politicking, like really, really politicking to get their team in.
It makes a difference.
It's interesting how they do that now. Like that
Yes.
wasn't always that was like people used to be like, oh, if we get in, we get in. Yeah. Now they all politic for their team.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they have to, and I think they're getting forced to now because of all the pressure and the amount of money that the university is going to get as opposed to not getting in, and also the prestige of it. And they have to politic. These college coaches, and we've talked about this before, Dave. you're no longer like just a coach of young men, like a mentor of young men, in helping them learn and grow from a kid to a young man. You're actually now you're it's like the president of the United States. You're a figurehead. You don't have all the power. You got your judicial, your executive, all those different things, and you think everybody sees that figurehead as being the lead guy. So that's what it is, and all they're doing is politicking to get in, so that way they get more money to the university. I don't know if that example was a great example, and especially the way I explained it, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say there. It's no longer just coaching football. There are so many things that go into this, even more so than it was in the past, man.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. They're minor league pro teams, So
Yeah,
although they're minor league pro teams who draw more than the pro teams
absolutely.
because of fan base. And I
Yeah.
watched the video. I think it was yesterday or the day before about why why is college football um in America so popular. And it was interesting because it was like a European perspective, right? Where they were basically like, why is it so popular when it's not the highest level? You know what I mean? Like it's not
Right,
NFL.
right.
Um, it's it's basically held at a university, but they go to watch the players who are really the next best players, and then obviously it comes down to community. Basically, started interviewing, but comes down to community. It comes down to I went to this university,
Yeah,
or I support this university, or I live near this university,
sure.
and this is the most important team. And I kind of liken it to, so even though you have in soccer in Europe these big the Premier League, which is the best teams,
Yeah,
which I don't know that much about, soccer in general, but I do know that there's those premier teams.
yeah.
But there's also teams in other leagues, like the subsequent leagues, that are based in these small towns, and they're based in towns like the size of 30,000 or 40,000,
Yeah.
and sometimes smaller, and everybody goes to that soccer game because that's the pro team in their town,
That
right?
represents yes.
Their town. And literally, it's funny because if you look at some of the and even some of the bigger teams, their stadium is built in these towns like Manchester United,
Yeah.
which is
Go on, man. You.
Man U, Arsenal,
Yeah.
and all these, but they're cities, but they're smaller cities, and their houses literally in front of the stadium.
Yeah.
That's how small these towns are. So you open your door, you can't open your door to the back because the stadium's in the back. You only open your door in the front. You know what I mean? You walk around, and if you wanted to, you could open your door, go get online.
Yeah.
You got to walk all the way probably to the back of the line to
Yeah.
get into the stadium. Like to go pay for your
Dude,
ticket.
that's like the Chicago Cubs, Wrigley Field. When I stayed up there with that company that whatever that trained me up there.
Yeah.
Dude, we stayed 2 blocks away from Wrigley Field, and people go to Wrigley and they watch it. You're exactly right, and you bring up an unbelievable point. That's why I don't think like minor league football teams, if you want to call them that, but other professional football teams like arena football that I played in for many years, or like the UFL, XFL, because it's not it's professional football. There's no doubt about it. Guys are getting paid. It's their profession, but it's perceived as they're not good enough to get to the NFL because now they're out of college. Well, I'd rather go and support the university that I went to because of the good times you had at that university, and the loyalty you have, and your kids went to that university, and it's a lineage. And whereas
Or you dreamed of it at, like, even if you didn't go to college, like, Pennsylvania's a great example of this, right? With Penn State. There's probably tons of people from your town that didn't even go to college that love Penn State.
Absolutely.
Like, They love it, right? Penn State is everything, right?
Because they went to school with that guy that's at Penn State. Everybody wants to say, "Oh yeah, I know that guy." You know those stories of
Right.
the local guys that they're mechanics or they're working in the yard or doing whatever they're doing, creating their own businesses. Yeah, I went to school with him 20 years ago, and either he's such an arse or he's such a great guy. One of the two. He either banged my ex girlfriend when I in high school, or he was a really great guy. You know, it's one of the two kind of a thing. But
Sometimes it can
uh,
be both.
sometimes it could be both. Yes, as we know. Nice guy Shane and great guy Dave.
Hopefully my wife doesn't watch. I know she doesn't. I know she has no interest in my podcast.
No, that's neither here nor
Because
there.
if she did, she would just be like just horrified.
She
And would believe it anyway. That's the funny part.
hopefully she still thinks of nice guy Shane.
What I find funny is that like when you're with somebody, they do not believe that you're really that cool. So
No, you're right. You're just hey, go take the trash out, man. Right? That's how it is.
Not that cool. You're not.
You're not.
I don't know how.
Anyway,
but so I think that's I think that's really true, and I think the number of years that universities are entrenched, meaning hundreds of years, or 100 years. I mean, Harvard and Yale, yes, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Like even Penn State, probably 150 years, 200 years. So there's so many alumni passed on that this person is. So I think there's a huge thing, and I think that's relatable to soccer in Europe in these smaller towns because they grew up in these small towns looking to play for this team one day, blah, 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 because they don't have college teams per se. So You're right. When an arena team or a UFL team tries to draw an audience, they're a newbie in the game, right? They're a newbie in the game, and people would rather go watch the University of Houston versus someone putting on some team in some small city. And I just think it's that's more exciting, that's more established, and they probably do perceive it to be better football too. So not necessarily the talent per se, because you might have more talented players in those lower pro teams, but more organized football, meaning paid coaches, paid really well, gonna be a system that's run well, win, lose, or draw. It's a program. There's an atmosphere around the universe, and I'm using University of Houston because they draw a lot, even though they're really not one of the big programs, right? They still have a draw. People went to the University of Houston. They like the university. There is a history of going back 60 years. University of Houston used to be one of the first triple option programs. You know what I mean? And so they were in the Southwest Conference, the original Southwest Conference. So I think that those things are unique. Look at what with SMU. It took. I mean, if they didn't give themselves the death penalty, SMU was ahead of their time. They were paying players a payroll back in 1980. So they, but now that's why they could be great again. My belief is that SMU in the old system, could not be great again because they just could never. Even though they had some years like June Jones, I think got to a bowl game. But and he runs that run and shoot system. That's a unique system. Had a chance. I always say that system wins you a lot of games, not necessarily win you championships, but wins you games.
Oh, yeah. They're exciting too.
They're exciting.
A lot of action.
Lots of points. But now SMU is winning without a gimmicky way because the thing that SMU struggled with was not being in a conference or being in a good conference. When they got the opportunity to get into to this conference, they gave up the farm to do it. They gave up all their current conference money for like the next X years. I think they had to pay it back, jumped into the ACC, which is smart. And they have the oil money now. Now NIL, like when they probably heard at SMU, when they probably heard that NIL was going to, wait a minute, paying players is legal now.
Yeah,
shit.
They're like,
You were doing that in '77.
Let me call Jimmy Bob Joe up and
Jimmy Bob, can you believe we can pay players now?
He's like, well, hell, I didn't think that it was ever illegal.
Wait a minute. That was illegal before?
Right.
No. Wait a minute. When we gave Eric Dickerson the Trans Am and the $200,000, that wasn't allowed?
Yeah. Do
That's
you remember?
no, Jimmy Bob. That's why we had the death penalty.
Yeah.
But we're back. We're back,
Right.
baby. Send a check here. It'll go to the players.
No doubt, man. Damn, what is going on here? I'll tell you, we're running all kinds of technical difficulties.
Oh, it's probably because if you get a phone call, then that does some things.
No, it's not the phone call. It's a freaking, I don't know what it. Anyway, who cares? Let's get back to Jimmy Bob because that's funny. I'm trying to set my thing up because so I can.
No, people want to see your hand. They
There
want to
we
see
go.
your hand. They want to see your hand the whole podcast. The hands that throw the touchdowns. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's right.
The man hands.
But I do think I don't think I mean I don't care what you know. Some of them might like if they get in the right smaller town. Some of these leagues might get some following, but it's never going to be on a scale that they would hope for. Just because college football, dude, really like listen. People who went to Montclair State, which is Division III.
Yeah.
People, not that they draw a huge crowd, but like, yeah, there are plenty of alumni from Montclair State that might be like, hey, man, so they'll get a couple thousand people to a game because they want to go see a college game. That's where they went to school. And that, they're going to draw more than most of these like second tier pro teams.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There are people that truly, especially down south, living down there, like they will literally balance their checkbook accordingly to make sure they can go to certain games. Like it is a religion down there. It's a way of life. You can't miss certain games, and it's just a constant. And that's what we need to build at UConn, Dave. Man, I wish and hope we can start.
We can if we
listen.
Somebody, so we already obviously Mike Burton, who played with us, and obviously he was young. I think when he might
he was younger.
I don't know if he had gotten on the field yet, or he might have gotten on a little bit back when I was a senior, but obviously was a starter when you were there. When you were seniors, Mike Burton obviously is already involved. We got to get. I think we got to get in the phone with Brent Conrad. You remember him?
Wow, yes. He was in the military, right? Wasn't he Conrad?
Well, Brett Conrad was there. His father was originally the head of Burger King, and then the whole. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about. His
father actually was killed in that plane crash.
Yeah,
which is a tragedy.
Yes,
a tragedy.
Yes.
But you want to recruit some of these people to get back. But I don't know if he continued to play much longer after that. But
you talking about Conrad?
Yeah.
No,
but he was a great dude. He was a great dude.
Great guy, dude. He was awesome. He lived up there with the Hilltoppers.
Oh yeah, the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, he was up there.
And then look, you got Rodney Butler. Who's the head of who's the chairman of Foxwoods,
that's right, Rodney.
Because he was the heir.
You talk about another great guy, Rodney.
Great guy,
one of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life, man.
I mean, unbelievable guy. And listen, he's rose up. He's the head of the whole entire tribe, and he's the chairman of it. And like, so those are people you want to get more involved. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if they didn't play. See, to me, I look at it like, the guys like us who were able to play, and you were more successful than I was, but like that were able to play all the way through and that were on scholarship, that had a lot, a high level of success as an athlete. Like that's not, the truth is that's not really the norm. Okay.
Yeah.
Even though, starting in college is hard.
Yeah.
To get the start in college is hard. There's a lot of guys on the team. So in things like the collective and getting people involved in the university, that's what we're talking about with, these universities in the South have figured out that, listen, I don't care if the person that was on the team for a day, like, we want them
Right.
involved in the university and the program. And if they're good people, we got to reach out and get those people involved in the program. And I think the
Absolutely.
South does a phenomenal job of that. The Southern
Oh,
teams.
it's about heritage. It's
Penn
about
State does a
legacy.
great
It's
job, and
about
Ohio State has a Northern team, right?
yeah.
Syracuse does a decent job of it.
Yeah, well said. A decent job. You're exactly right. I wouldn't say they do a great job, but no, they do. They know what they're great at, and their sports broadcasting or broadcasting in general is unreal. You look at the people that graduated and went through that program at Syracuse, like that's what they're known for. If you want to come out of Syracuse, because what's the oh, I forget his name. He works at ESPN. He hosts all the big time events. Hell, even NASCAR. The light skinned black dude. I forget his name. Golly.
Hosts NASCAR.
Well, he hosts everything. Like he's at all the major events. ESPN analyst. I'm gonna try and look this up, but
Dan Orlovsky. I know he doesn't do. I know he doesn't do NASCAR.
Graduated from Syracuse. I'm just trying to look it up.
I mean, I wish I played with Dan. I would be reaching out to him. Like, I don't know with their class, and I don't know what the deal is there, but I would be. I don't know him.
Mike Tirico.
Oh, Mike Tirico's amazing, dude.
Yeah, he went to Syracuse, bro.
Oh, he did.
He started. So like, if I was coming out and I know that I want to be a part of sports broadcasting, which I wanted to, and I didn't know how to go about it, and should have been in communications, all that stuff. There's so many things. Obviously, as you get older, you start to learn, like, oh, I should have done this, should have done that. Your mom and dad always tell you, yeah, just wait till you get older. You're gonna want to listen to me then, right? That kind of thing. But he is unbelievable. Like Syracuse has an unbelievable communications / broadcasting, opportunity at that university. You graduate from there in sports broadcasting, you're going to get a job, just like going to like any other major, especially UConn now, because of obviously with Dan there and
ESPN is nearby.
ESPN is right down the road.
Well,
man.
Molly, the girl who does a lot of the
Molly Kiram.
She's UConn.
Alicia Kiram. What a great girl. Alicia Kiram is Molly's sister. So Molly, I know Alicia from college. Alicia was her older sister. And so, we talked a little bit and stuff, and
Alicia,
actually dated a little bit.
I know Alicia.
You might know Alicia,
Pancakes?
But she's married to Steve Bowman now.
Oh,
Alicia Kiram is
phenomenal maker of pancakes.
Yes.
Phenomenal pancake maker.
Yes, sir.
I remember everything, dude. Not everything. Let me backtrack. I remember things I want to remember. Yeah, I don't remember everything.
I'm telling you, she is a sweetheart. Still was then and still is. Like she's one.
Oh, that's why she's married to Steve Bowman.
Okay. Yeah, she got away. She's one that got away, man. Like that's one that I'm putting my heart out there on. But no, anyway, I'm happy for Steve. I'm happy for Alicia. But anyway, Molly, yes, she went through UConn and everything like that. And beautiful lady and a great person. Does a lot of stuff in the community. Like she's not just talking about Molly. Not just about just because she's on TV kind of thing. And that's how.
Oh, so that's your sister. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
They do a lot of things.
Why would I know that? I don't know.
I know, right? But that's funny. You said a great maker of pancakes. We eat them at 8:00 at night too.
What's that? Yeah, it was probably at night. I'm pretty sure it was because I would eat pancakes anytime I could, and that was back when I still, was in really good shape and my metabolism worked really fast.
Yeah, you eat them now.
If I sniff pancakes, that's
you put on 5 pounds
easily. Easily. I sip.
Yeah.
Listen, I could eat great all week long. And then on Saturday, if I go to like dinner and get a cheeseburger and everything, like I don't understand it. I'm like, dude, what happened to the great genetics I had? Where did that go? So the only way I could do it is if I basically just eat like um
Kale.
I mean kale did help. When I ate kale, I would eat kale salad. Somehow that did help cut the I guess the roughage. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know. I
That-
mean, but what's amazing is that, in the old days, you could be good for most of the week and then have a bad weekend of eating and drinking or whatever. It wasn't like it killed you, man. It didn't
right.
kill me.
Yeah.
Now that would, I mean, I don't drink, but
Dude, forget about it. It's a wrap.
like, I mean, if I even had alcohol, I would just probably gain 50 pounds in a day. So, I didn't even like,
Yeah.
it's funny,
Dude, it's anything out of the ordinary and your body just doesn't accept it, and it's like, okay, you want to put this in me now? Here's what I'm gonna do to you. Remember those size 34s you were wearing? Hey, you're not getting in 40s now.
34.
I don't even know the last time I wore
We're
a
talking
34.
44 here. No, I think I'm 42. 42.
Yeah. Yep, I'm right around there. I'm about 38.
I wish I would kill to be 38.
That's when I suck my gut in, though.
If I was 38, if I was a size 38, like I might be in supermodel mode at 38.
Yeah. But hey, your brother though, he looks amazing. Your sister looks amazing. Like you, but the thing is though, you're behind the
I
desk
tried
all
to hook
day. You're
that up
sitting
back in
here
the day
doing it.
for you, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, dude. Come
yeah,
on,
that
man.
would have been weird though. Maybe that might have
That
been
would
weird.
have been a little strange.
I mean,
Unless
not if you got
here's
the
the
five
deal.
kids later. Not if you got the 5 kids later. But
No, but yeah, that wasn't where my mind was then. Obviously,
oh no, yeah,
and
my mind
never
was.
ever, yeah, never be disrespectful to your best friend's family.
Yeah.
No,
But
y'all are family, man, more than anything.
I wish
So
I wish
anyway,
I always heeded to that.
I feel like
I
this
was
is
starting
getting a little uncomfortable. This conversation right
Oh
now.
no. So anyway, yeah, no. Well, listen, my brother. I mean, he coaches track at Johns Hopkins.
I did not. No.
Yeah, he's a track coach there.
Yeah, he went from a model to that was the craziest thing ever, Dave.
Oh,
And
we
then we'll
saw
get
it.
back onto the college football. But when he yelled my name, we're in Barcelona when I was playing for NFL Europe with Scotland. I
Right,
hear this guy yelling out, Shane. Like nobody ever yells your name in
right,
Barcelona. I mean,
right.
he's like, Shane, it's Schuman. I was like, what? Oh, snap. What are you doing? He's like, yeah, I have this modeling gig
Oh yeah,
going on here. And
he lived it like he lived all over the world doing modeling for years.
yeah, man, that's amazing.
I don't know, like I don't know, it's not like being a female model where like you really rake it in,
Yeah.
but
He must
like
have done well, though.
he
I
did
mean,
enough that he could sustain his lifestyle, which probably entailed,
yeah, no, but when I saw him, I was like,
sleeping
Dan,
in.
I was like, Dan, shoot. He's like, yeah, man, what's going on? I was like, holy my teammates were like, you know somebody here? I was like, I didn't know they were here, but yes, I do know him. I was like, I don't know how to explain it. He's here, and I know him.
You're not gonna believe it. I mean, I played ball with his brother. You're
Yeah,
not gonna
I
believe it.
roomed with his brother, and I mean, that was like the last thing I expected in
Yeah,
Barcelona, Spain.
that's so funny. I remember when he told me that, and I was like, oh my god, you actually went to a game? He's like, yeah, they play here, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, that was
But
pretty cool, though. Yep, we
yeah,
played in this. Speaking of soccer,
that was a soccer
European
stadium.
football or football. Yeah, it was in the same stadium that their national team played in at the time.
Wait, is that where Real Madrid played? Where was it? Oh, it was Barcelona. Oh,
Barcelona. Yeah,
Barcelona
yeah,
FC played there?
yeah.
In
Barcelona.
Barcelona?
Yeah. Yep. So they
That's a
played there.
huge club. That's a huge club.
Yeah, it was a beautiful stadium. It probably sat like 20 to 30,000 people. It might have been like their
Their
local, like, so
their
one of their
local team.
smaller teams. I
Yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
it wasn't like the Real
SC, the
Madrid
big
type
one.
of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was like one of their football clubs. Yeah. So
Interesting how it's so living in Europe. You probably saw like the soccer model is like such an interesting.
oh
It's so different than what we do in America. You know.
dude, well, you got to understand it's like 300, 400 years older than anything we ever did.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like they've been playing soccer there or football for centuries prior to what we've done over here in America. You
It,
know, and but yeah, man, trying to get back on track. That's why it's a frenzy.
it's correct. We talk about nothing for an hour. It's great. Um, it's like a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah. A
I,
show about nothing.
oh yeah, it just came to mind. It's like
We
when
might be on to something.
when Kramer comes into the sauna, he goes, "Ah, it's like a sauna in here," and everyone looks at him like, "What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it's a sauna. That's what you just walked
Yeah.
into." Or
I love it.
these pretzels are making me thirsty.
Yeah.
Remember that
Yeah.
one? They're like,
Yeah.
these
Dude,
pretzels, they're
it,
making me thirsty. They were making they're
that show is awesome. I actually
that
got
thing is
pulled
so
over one time.
genius.
Yeah.
I wish I was that like I'm good at certain things, and obviously you're good at certain things, but their level of genius, and not just genius, but the ability to know that this would work, like
Right.
the intelligence you would need to have
Yeah.
to know that that kind of humor, which is definitely not your everyday kind of thing, would
Yeah.
be have a really good chance of being successful on TV. Like
Mm.
there's got to be some, the guy, obviously the Seinfeld's a smart, obviously comedian, and the guy
Yeah.
Larry David who did the other
Larry
show,
David was a
that guy's a
huge
genius.
yes.
He's a comedic genius
Yes.
because he then created that show on HBO.
Yes. I
That
was trying
show
to
is
think of that.
so fucking funny. Oh my god, Curb Your Enthusiasm,
Yes.
dude. That show, like I think I've watched every episode. Maybe not
It
the last year or so, the last couple years, but I up until that point,
yeah.
man, the things he would come up with, like I don't know
Yeah.
how these even. I thought one of the funniest episodes was when in Curb Your Enthusiasm was he's they want to go eat at this. They want to go eat. Like Larry David is Jewish, and I think most of his friends are Jewish, and
Yeah.
but they want to go eat at this Pakistani restaurant, which is
Okay.
really really good food, or not Pakistan. I don't know if it's no, not Pakistani. I'm sorry, like a Palestinian restaurant.
Okay.
Either it's some Middle. I think it was some Middle
Right.
East, and they want to go eat there, and they're Muslim. It's a Muslim, and so they want to go eat there, but you have to take off your you can't wear the one guy is like a orthodoxy, right?
Yeah.
And he wants to wear his yarmulke in there, but it's going to be a battle, you know what I mean, if they wear yarmulke in there, right?
Yeah.
So Larry David and them, they're arguing outside about it, right?
Uh,
They're arguing outside, and as the episode goes, everybody in the Arabic the Muslim restaurant is watching them argue, and and he grabs the yarmulke off his friend's head and throws it aside, but they're just arguing between friends. But they turn around and everybody is watching them from inside the restaurant. And when he does it.
I love it.
One friend doesn't want to go in, but him and his other buddy go in, and they're all nervous. And the waitress comes over to him and says, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. She said, "You're a Jew, right? You're a Jew." He says, "Yeah." He says, "But we want to come in. We want, we like your food. We want to eat the restaurant." And she said, "What you did out there, that was outstanding." And She goes, he gives him food, and she gives him his phone number, and he starts dating her. So it's
Oh,
the funny, like only that can happen, and like you know what I mean. Like it's so funny.
but that's something that would happen to us, though. I mean, we just
Yes,
put
yes.
ourselves out there, man. We
Yes,
do.
it was just genius. The
Yeah,
writing is so genius, and
it
how he
really
like
is.
connecting the dots. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like, how do
dude.
you connect those dots?
And then to have a guy like JB Smoove, the black
Oh,
dude,
it's
like,
awesome.
dude, I find his character hilarious. Like, how does he fit in? Like, you're talking about all these Jewish guys, and then you have JB Smoove in there, and it just
And
works.
that's his boy. That
It,
like best
yeah,
friends.
yeah, exactly. That's the funniest. Like, you're
Genius
right
writing.
though. The writing of it is crazy funny.
Crazy. And it's funny because Larry David is so like buttoned up, and JB Smoove is like unfiltered. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like he just says whatever comes to his mind at all times. Although Larry David kind of does too. I
correct.
guess that's why they get along. That's
Yeah,
probably why they get along.
absolutely.
Because Larry David's always getting in trouble for saying when like what comes to his mind.
Yep.
You know. I
Yeah.
yeah, that show is almost as brilliant as Seinfeld.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. Larry David, if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the
He
major
was the
writers
writer.
of Seinfeld. So it makes sense on why they would all be um, as funny. You know,
No, there's no doubt about it.
dude, I love catching up with you on the show and talking. It's like we're having a phone, like you said the other day, we're having a phone conversation, but now it's recorded, and
Yes,
people
it's
get
recorded, and
they,
the people are entertained.
they kind of get into a little bit of our lives.
That's it.
That's awesome.
If they're actually really involved in my life, they would probably be bored out of their mind. So
No, everybody wants to know that they're normal, and they
yeah,
see
that's
you
true.
doing what you do. They're like, oh, okay, I'm normal.
Yep, as normal as I can get. You know, thank
Hey,
good,
so
thank goodness I was raised pretty well. You like the
yeah,
sense that kept me from completely going off the rails.
yeah,
Yeah,
no doubt.
it's funny how you're like uh that being able to get yourself back on track because it's
Oh hell yeah,
there's so
yeah,
many times like I could man it's amazing and thank goodness I survived some of these things too.
yeah,
I think back like you obviously you think back probably it's like it's amazing like I'm just thankful to the Lord
yeah.
that I survived all these things and are now on the good side of it.
Yes, I was gonna say the better side of things. Yes,
Like you wouldn't some of the decisions you make you're like
man.
they seem like fun at the time.
Yeah, one decision can definitely derail you, and that train will not stop.
That's right.
That's
You
what
know.
these young men need to know, man. If hopefully we can get some of the youth watching this stuff. Like when I say youth, I'm talking about teenagers and high school kids and college kids. Like they watch this, it's you can easily get derailed, especially nowadays with
Oh,
these young men getting this money at the collegiate level. Hopefully they're doing the right things with that money, and if they are, they're going to be set for life. Maybe not in a generational type wealth, but at least wealth for them to where they can live a good life. Not maybe a great life, but think about that, Dave. If you were getting 40, 50 grand when you were 19, 20, 21, 22, like what would we do with that money, man? Like,
well, it's hard to think of because the way that they live now and how with social media and stuff is vastly different. Like there was no such thing as like you never had to worry about if you did something crazy like anyone beyond your circle really knowing it unless you got arrested. You know what I'm saying? So
true.
no one beyond now it's different. So I do think they probably grow up
A little
more.
quicker.
Yeah, but I think they're probably more conservative. I'm not talking about politically, but I mean conservative as far as how they approach things because from an earlier age, they are being watched. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And everyone's watching them. Whereas that really was not the case when we grew up. That was so the long and the short of it is me in the 90s, if you handed me that money, I would have been broke a year later because I would have spent at least a week on a beach somewhere. I would have bought a car I didn't need.
I love how you said plural at first.
Yes, I did say plural, but 40,000 would not be enough for plural. So
No, we're not.
no, so I would have got some vehicle for myself. Although the vehicle was pretty great, but
Your car was awesome, man.
the
That
vehicle.
black Blazer, wasn't it a Blazer?
Yep, the
Yeah.
Dan Smith and DJ Clary nicknamed that the vehicle because
The vehicle.
I would take it on any roadway, anything,
Yes, you
and not
did.
even like think twice about it. And so he's like, no, they're like, that's the vehicle. And you know, if you got me a little annoyed at a frat party and you were like,
Yeah. Yes.
you
Yes.
know,
I know.
my bumper car a couple of cars back in the
Yeah.
day, you
I
know,
know.
like
Hey, what kind of car do you think Will would have had instead of the old police car that he used to drive around?
I think you would have had a nice Cadillac
Yes,
with
absolutely.
with no top,
No,
so everyone could see him.
absolutely. I agree. I'll never forget the day he let me, well, the night he let me drive it from Huskies to pick up
The cop car.
yeah, I felt so cool. I'm like, damn, Wilbur let me drive his car. I was like, what
That
do I
car
got?
was just like you knew he was
Everybody knew
coming.
that
You
car.
knew he was coming, dude. Oh, who else
Everybody
had
knew that one.
you know who had the greatest car of cars though in college? Jake Voskel.
Oh, absolutely. The
That
truck,
truck with the big wheels.
dude. That's a true Texan right there. Those
That's
big old wheels with that white truck, and man, yeah,
oh man.
I can imagine if you had that car, you'd have ran over cars.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have control like he did. He had control,
Yeah,
and probably because he was a basketball player and under always everyone watching him. You know,
yeah,
I would not have had the control he had. There's definitely someone would have annoyed me, and I would have just taken my big vehicle, see if I could go Bigfoot, see if I could go Bigfoot style on him, and see if I could.
yeah.
And yep. Oh my goodness, I remember the funniest of all. I remember we went to K Squared, her house.
Okay.
There was some like little party going. Me, Dan Smith, and Larry Austin went.
Oh my goodness,
And this was funny. And then I had to take. I think we were taking some
L.A.
back to the dorms, or maybe out after. Anyway, when the party part was fun, but when we left, that's when the fun began. And I was taking the vehicle off road and stuff. And
Mm.
if you remember, like they lived in Coventry
Okay,
at the time.
that's
That's
right.
not where they
Yeah,
lived early
way
on, but
out there.
yeah. So it was country out there.
Yeah,
And so I'm driving my car everywhere. And the funniest scene ever, Dan Smith is like, he turns to Larry. He's like, why are you holding on to the girls instead of the girls holding on to you?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he was so scared, Larry Austin. He was holding on to the girls like, protect me.
That's funny. That's
He's like,
funny.
why? Why? They should be holding on to you for
Right,
protection.
and
You're
you're
holding on
holding
to
on
them.
to the
He was holding on to them like, protect me. Yo, Larry was the funniest dude ever.
man. Hey, he don't make me go to the Sable. That's what he called his car, the Mercury Sable. Don't make me go to the Sable. He'd always go to the Sable and get a tire wrench. I'm going to the Sable. We're like, Larry, relax. It's okay, man. It's okay. Larry, it's okay.
Oh,
Transferred in from NC State, man.
oh yeah, oh yeah. That was
Yeah.
one of the big. It's too bad that injury he had. He was a good player.
Yeah, he was. He was. Hey, so let's try and refocus here if
Yeah,
we
yeah. Let's
can.
get focused here.
Yeah. So, what game do you want to start with, man? So going back to what you were saying, I agree with you. I think given the now here's the chance for some of these like a Boise, Arizona State, for these teams to show Indiana that they belong. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And before we go into, I'm pulling up the bracket.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have one on your end.
Yep.
My question last week, remember we did our predictions?
Yeah.
Okay, so I predicted Boise. Who did you predict?
Boise.
I picked SMU. I was wrong. You picked Clemson. I think you got that right. I think you picked Clemson, right?
No, I picked SMU.
Oh, you
I
did
was
also.
wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
They almost pulled it off.
Yeah.
I picked Oregon. Did you
I
pick?
got Penn State. I went with the hometown team. I
You
was
went
wrong.
with Penn
I was
State.
terrible. I lost I think 5 of the predictions and only got 3 right.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It was a bad prediction from me.
Army, I got right.
Yeah.
I picked Army. I think
Yes, I got
I think
Army. Yep.
you had Army.
Yep.
I watched that game. Boy, they were awesome, dude.
Yeah.
They're awesome. I wanted to go to the game. It was just freezing that night.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm trying to convince Nicole and Troy that I'm like West Point. I'm like, you haven't been to anything until you go to West Point.
Yeah.
You have to go. It's
Exactly.
unbelievable.
Sure.
I've been to a game a few years ago there. Let's see. All right, what else do we have? What else was there?
We had dang it, I'm trying to find it.
We did ACC, SEC. Oh, SEC. I took. I was wrong. I took. Who did Georgia?
You took Texas.
I took Texas.
Yeah, I took UGA. Yep.
Okay.
That's one of the ones I got correct.
All right. Was there any other ones? Oh, then there was all the ones
Indiana.
Then there was like the Big South or all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Some of those. Trying to find all those predictions in picks, I should say. Anyway, yeah, I did not do a good job. That's one thing I do know. I'll tell you who did was Steve Cully.
He got almost all of them right.
Yeah, because I remember going over and reviewing it, he got a bunch correct. He got more than you and I did.
That's yeah.
And I don't know where it is. I'll find it by the time the end of this podcast. So I basically took a notebook from how you organize all your paperwork, and I just that's how it is here now. But you always knew where all your stuff was. It would be anywhere. And you're like, oh, no, that's way over there. And I'm like, how do you know that? I don't know. I just know. I'm like, what? How is that even possible for you to know that?
Yeah.
But you always had a plan, even though it didn't look like you did.
Nope. Oh, yeah, you're right. Why? Because I'm not I don't my mind is thinking about a lot of things, I think.
I would never have thought of that.
There's a lot going on upstairs, you know.
There's a lot going on.
You know.
I think that blew away.
All right, so let's go through. All right, so the first game is Ohio State, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
Ohio State, Tennessee. This is a good one. I've got to go with Ohio State just with how they played against Oregon, and I think they've only gotten better. I think Ohio State, because it is going to be at Ohio State, and that's the one thing about these. Now they're playing the first round games at the home field of the higher ranked team, which I think is cool. I think that's great. It's kind of like how it was when we played in FCS in the Division I AA back at the time. I think that will play a huge part. I don't think it's going to be warm during that game. I think it'll be a little cooler. And I think Tennessee is going to have an issue with that, along with how Ohio State is playing now. I think their defense is good enough to win that game, man. I'm going to go Ohio State there.
All right. I got to go with Tennessee.
Yeah.
I like the quarterback.
He's a baller.
He's a baller. They play in the SEC. I think they're going to be a little physically tougher. I thought Ohio State was not that tough against Michigan.
Yeah.
And now and I think Tennessee will have the athletes to hang with Ohio State's offense. So that's I mean kind of my thought. Having said that, Ohio State, even though they're not like a super high seed, they are probably one of the few teams I think could actually, if they won, potentially could go the whole way, just because they have certain elements to it. But I'm going to go with Tennessee.
Yeah. I hear you.
Texas, Clemson. I think this one's a pretty easy one, but
Yeah, I'm going Texas on this one.
yeah,
Uh,
I'm
yeah.
going to Texas too.
I think Clemson snuck in there just because of some wins and losses. Um, they needed certain teams to lose just to get in. So yeah, I think Texas is. I think they're a much better team than Clemson is this year.
Right, and I think I thought if Clemson was really good, they would have handled SMU easily. They struggled with SMU.
Correct.
And SMU has the offensive players probably to play with anybody, but the defense, they just don't have. They will, by the way. I'm sure within 2 years,
Yeah.
they're going to be out of this world, just because, like,
A lot of money.
reference early part of this video for
Yes.
further information. Or give Eric Dickerson a call. One of the two. You give Eric Dickerson a call. He'll
Yeah. He'll explain why.
He'll explain. So yeah, I think we're in agreement. Listen. I didn't think Quinn Ewers played that good in the SEC championship. So that did, that did make me think like they were a little vulnerable there if you got after them. Like they struggled when Georgia got after them. Ewers got sacked quite a bit, struggled.
Yeah.
So I did kind of, for the first time in that game, really see some like real possible weaknesses in their team. I thought defensively they weren't bad, but so I'm not sure. Like I think if you get after Texas, I don't know if Clemson has the ability to do that or not.
Right.
I think that could be a flaw. Now, if Texas does win, they're in a great position.
Dude, a great position. Like they have a chance to, because if they win that game, I'm trying to think what they'll play. They'll play Arizona State, right? Yeah. Dude,
They
man.
could go right to the semifinal with that.
Hey, that cat Steinberger, whatever, that running back.
Oh, he's a dude.
Arizona State. I don't know how those little legs can go
If they
that
just
fast,
if they just made me a tailback in college, that would have been me.
Dude, when a tailback like uses like a big Cadillac wheel to make cuts, I don't have a lot of respect for that. But when he makes cuts, he like uses his Cadillac turning, and somehow he's able to just bounce off of guys.
He's physical.
Yeah, he's physical and he's fast too. He's not slow, man. I don't know what not that this matters, but whatever ethnicity he is, I don't know if he's white, mixed, or Indian and mixed, and
he runs like a white guy. He's white.
He does run like a white guy, but he's not.
Listen,
white.
all the really good. Now McCaffrey is taken out of the mix because McCaffrey, could do it all. Probably because he was training from the time he was a baby, so he could do it all. But a lot of the all stat, like that's what he reminds me of, like all stat, Zonka, like. But I mean, he's more elusive. I'll give because in today's game you're gonna have to be more elusive. But I love how they reference. They said it reminds them of Toby Gerhardt. I'm like, do all the white running backs run exactly the same way?
Yeah, right. All white running backs just run the same. No.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, seriously.
No, it's so funny. It's like, wait a minute. So Scatterboo doesn't run like Barry Sanders, is what you're saying to me?
Right. But even though his size reminds me and his legs remind me of Barry Sanders, he doesn't have that that
He's not as
that
shifty.
that crazy jump cutback type of ability that Barry Sanders had. What he does have is you can't tackle that son of a gun. That's for sure.
He's like Gerhardt or Allstat, but he's shorter than Toby Gerhardt was tall, I think.
All stop.
So he's more like Allstat, I think.
Yeah, I agree. He's
I
not
don't
as
know if he's
thick.
as heavy. Allstat was
Yeah.
bigger. Like,
Allstott was like 240, bro.
dude, you want to
At
watch
6 foot.
a great I don't know if it's NFL films, but the backfield with Allstott,
Yeah.
it was him and
Warwick Dunn.
well, no, Warwick Dunn was they had that like they had two kind of backfields. That Warwick Dunn was this obviously the speedier back, but there was another guy who was a fullback. They had a nickname for their backfield. Um, who was the there's Thunder and Lightning backfield of thank you Google of Mike Allstat and Warwick Dunn, but there was
Yeah.
I can't remember who the fullback was. He's a famous guy. I thought he went to maybe UConn back in the day. Remember UConn had a fullback that lasted forever.
No, he wasn't on that team.
He wasn't. So then let me. Oh, that's right, because he blocked for LaDainian Tomlinson, that the UConn
Yeah.
fullback, I think. Who was in the backfield on? And I can't think of who it was. There's another guy, but anyway, they would both be in the backfield, and one guy was a fullback who was the same weight as Allstott, and it was just like they would call that backfield, and they would be so amped up, and they
Yeah.
would just come out and just like basically try to kill people, even though they were running the ball. That's what their goal was, just to kill people. It was great. Linebackers must have been like, oh shit.
Yeah. Imagine trying to tackle that.
And they lined up with a fullback that was 250 at the same time. I just can't remember who that was. What, the Buccaneers?
Yeah, that was the Bucks. I don't know anybody because that's when like I was basically down in that area. I don't know who else played with Mike Allstott other than Warwick Dunn, other than Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman played with with Allstott the year they won the Super Bowl. After Warwick Dunn was done, no pun intended. With he got sent to traded, I think, to the Falcons or somewhere. But anyway, it was Michael Pittman, and Michael Pittman was a rock. Oh, you're probably thinking of Thomas Jones, maybe?
No.
I forget.
Let me get their all-time roster. I gotta go to that error.
Yeah.
Can you give it to me? Can I
I
get
think it was Thomas Jones.
Let's just get running back. Let's get the all-time running back deal here. All-time running back roster. Although my favorite running back of all time from the Bucks was Gary Anderson, but nobody even remembers him. All right, let me see. You remember Gary Anderson?
Yes, I do. He's a kicker.
No, not that Gary Anderson. Maybe his name.
Yeah.
Was
So
Gary.
Michael Pittman played with Allstott.
This website. Oh, here we go. Oh,
in 02 to 07.
Why do these websites have to have all these ads on it?
Yeah,
It's so
Gary
annoying.
Anderson played from 90 to 93. So you have James Wilder Jr., obviously, he wasn't there. Mike Allstott, Warwick Dunn. Doug Martin was there for a little bit. Cadillac Williams was there for a little bit. Pittman, that's the only other guy that I could think of other than Ronald Jones. No, yeah, maybe.
No, Ronald Jones is recent.
No, he's recent. Ernest Graham, Payne Barber, LeGarrette Blunt, Josh Freeman.
Hold on. I think we're getting there. Let's see.
Thomas Jones. Yeah, Thomas Jones is the only other guy that I could think. No, would have been him.
Son of a gun. I know. Lorenzo, no, was it Lorenzo Neal?
No, he was that not with Michael. I mean, not with Mike Allstott.
Pittman was there.
Yeah, I don't
Lorenzo
know.
Neal. Lorenzo Neal wasn't there with Allstott.
No,
What year was Allstott on Tampa Bay?
he was like 92 to like 90, or I'm sorry, to like 2000 until his neck got messed up and he had to have surgery on it. To like 2004 or 5, the like a year or two after.
It was definitely Lorenzo Neal. So I guess he was only with him 1 year. Because they also had work done on the team. Oh no, yeah. Let me see. Lorenzo Neal and Mike Allstott. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have a name for them.
I'm pretty sure they call themselves like the Bash Brothers or something.
Yeah, they might have. So that would have been
Okay. Let's see. You know what's great about YouTube? Here we go.
yeah, everything.
Let's just enjoy it
Lorenzo Neal, Mike
because we
Allstott.
can.
Yeah,
Just
epitome
because.
of. Okay, so Lorenzo Neal lead blocking for.
Well, that's one thing. Let's play this. Them talking about it. Here's them talking about it. All right, you ready? Here, Neal.
Yeah.
Lorenzo Neal. Could you imagine? See, it should have been. They should have had a package where Ed Nook was the fullback and I was the tailback. Let's go.
Seriously. Or you and Wilbur in the backfield too. So now I could throw to y'all too. You could check
that was actually under Tom Jackson.
Down.
Originally, the groups were Nook and Eddie Long and me and Wilbur. That was the two groups, and then they started mixing and matching. But we were the twos. So originally we were the twos, and Ed Nook and Eddie Long
Eddie were the ones.
So we would sub in, and then eventually that year we became the ones. It kind of switched. But then they started mixing and matching too. Like they would match, sometimes I was with Wilbur and then sometimes but yeah, that was the backfield, dude. Yeah. That was the smack. We were like, and we could catch.
You know what? You know what would have been great? Like now with how the game is, Dave, having you Eddie Long, you could split out wide. You could even put you out wide, and you could run a hitch because you have really, really good hands, soft hands, bro.
Run
and
slants.
You catching the ball, like you could run a hitch, you could run a slant, you could run certain things, or you could even be like a lead blocker on the screen if we want to run a screen to somebody else. Like so, we bring in personnel of like 3 backs. No tight ends or something like that will blow people's mind, or 2 backs, 2 tight ends, or 2 backs, 1 tight end. And now we put you out there, or we put Eddie Long out there, or we put Wilbur in the backfield. I don't know how good. I don't think Wilbur's hands were the best, to be honest.
No, I think Eddie's were very good. Eddie was very good.
Your hands were very good too. Like
Nook had pretty good hands. Nook had pretty good hands too for a big guy. Nook had pretty good hands.
Great hands.
He could have lined up as. I didn't know why they didn't try to line him up a little bit as like a sniffer,
like an H back or a sniffer.
Yeah. Like you could have went with 2 fullback. So
dude, I agree.
You went with a 2 fullback offense where you didn't have a tight end, but used a sniffer.
But he really would have been a tight end.
He was a tight end because he could catch the ball too.
Yeah. So now you can run that scheme of where you cross in certain zone schemes. You could run all kinds of things and play action off of that. And dude,
but those guys have disappeared now. So that's the crazy part. So there's almost no.
But Dave, you would have been
no Eddie Nooks, Dave Schumans, Chad Martins. There's very few of those anymore.
Absolutely.
Very few. Like,
but you would have been great for like an offense to where you can move a guy around, where he's physical enough to block,
Right.
he's agile enough to, if you want to put him in the backfield and put the other guy out wide, you can still hand the ball off to you, and or put you out wide and create to where you see if it's zone or man. That's what teams do nowadays. So they,
My best high school, my best team was a team that I coached that went to the state championship but lost. But my best high school offense team was the team the next year, and we had a 230-pound fullback and a 215-pound tailback,
yeah,
and the fullback was 6 feet 230, kind of like it kind of built a little bit similar to how I was. It wasn't as quite as fast, but he was. And then the tailback was 5'10", 215. And let me tell you, those guys were killing people. And we were and my quarterback went to Villanova, so
yeah,
he could chuck it all over.
yeah,
And he was a runner. He could run too. And I think he ended up his last year moving to receiver. But he was like, so that team offensively, I always was like, oh, I wish I had the defense from the year before paired with
yeah.
those guys were a year younger the year
If
before.
only.
Paired with them the next year, that team would have been lights out. But
Yeah,
let me tell you something. We used to line up in this thing called Sooner,
yeah,
and it would be two fullbacks with a tailback.
yeah,
We would just tell them, just try to kill people, dude. Just try to kill people. When we're in Sooner and we're handing it off to the tailback, just try to blow guys off the ball. That's all. That's what we try to do, man. And it was funny because we had a huge line too that year too. We had a pretty big line. My center was the year before my center was 305.
Oh, jeez.
He went to Columbus. The year before, the offense was very good. But the really good, I had one phenomenal skill player. He was a senior. He went to a Lackawanna Junior College and played at Division II.
Yeah.
But the other guys who were great skill players, they were really like a year younger. Oh man, my line that one year. This is the line for high school, small school high school, by the way.
Yeah.
My center was 6'4", 310, 305, something like that.
Yeah.
My right guard was 5'9", 265 and could run. My right tackle was who was my right tackle? Oh, he was 6 feet 250. My left guard was 6'4", 265, and my left tackle was 6'4", 210. He was the smallest guy, my left tackle.
Yeah.
He was like 210. That line was just fucking huge. They were huge, but it's funny. It's funny how you think. But that era, dude, was a great era. All right, so let's get back to the most
It was
important.
fun.
I think it was a fun era. It was. Listen, I run the spread myself. I like running the spread. I get it. It is when you can get a good fullback. If you can
you're gonna
actually
throw everybody off.
if you actually can get a good fullback, it is so valuable in high school. I mean, even college now, and the pros, they're using them when they can. They're not every down guys anymore. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But you listen, you start getting around the goal line, and you have a real fullback.
No doubt. Oh, it's a problem.
It's a problem, dude.
It's a problem because teams aren't really built. Your linebackers are not built to take that on. They're more built to, because everybody runs spread. They're more built to run and be better in space. They don't necessarily know how to wrong arm a guy or shed a blocker or fill a hole, and understanding why they're doing those things. They're in space running fast because they're really fast. You know what I mean? Like, and they're athletic. But,
you're right. It's a problem. That's why. So we going back to our thing when George, like, who is it? Texas? We did first. So this is where, like, even though they're not playing the first round. This is where I think Georgia has an advantage and Boise State has an advantage.
Oh, definitely Boise State, without a doubt. They're in the
They
second
will
round. But
run the football.
absolutely, absolutely. Boise State now they can't get behind by much. I
No,
don't know exactly who
I
they
don't think
would.
they can come back. I don't think they can come back if they get down.
Yeah.
So they're
They
playing the
need
winner of Penn
to.
State SMU.
Yes.
Who do
So
you got
now,
that one?
what's that?
Who do you got in that one? Penn State?
I'm going. Ah, man, that's a tough one. Yeah, I'm gonna go Penn State, even though I think SMU will give it a game. I've been doing research on it, and a lot of these pundits or whatever, everybody's taking Penn State. There's only a few that take SMU. They're probably down in that region and probably have seen SMU more. But I think Penn State will win that game. I just because it's at Penn State. It's a whiteout. When
It's a
it's a
whiteout.
whiteout, God, it's crazy. Have you ever
I've never
been
been to a
to?
whiteout.
Dude,
I'd like to go to that. Yeah.
it's amazing. When I was quick story, so Gooch and I got recruited. Obviously, we went to same school, Wilson High School, Wilson West Lawn, where Kerry Collins, myself, Chad Henne, quarterbacks. Name dropping there. But
Yeah, of course.
but anyway, so everybody was pissed off that Chad Henne went to Michigan instead of going to Penn State. But the point is, Gooch was getting recruited because in college, in high school, Gooch was 6'2".
Huge.
He was 6'2", 215, 220 in high school playing safety, running like a 4.7, not fast, but fast enough. Everybody knew he was going to be moved to linebacker eventually.
Right.
So he ended up getting recruited by Penn State hard. So we went to when Penn State played Michigan. It was freaking crazy, dude. Walking out on that field, everybody's like, "Come to Penn State." They didn't know who we were or anything like that.
Right.
Didn't even go to Penn State. But yeah, it was. And then the whiteout. I went to one night whiteout game, and dude, I'm telling you, it is one of the best atmospheres. It's almost like going to a Auburn, Alabama game in the North. You know what I mean? Like a Penn State, Michigan game, even though it was during the day, back in the 90s, that was a huge, huge deal, bro. And so I got to go with Penn State just because of home field advantage, and I do think they have better talent. And the key is now, Franklin hasn't won a big game at Penn State yet. That's the issue. So I think he's due.
I think they're going to win. I think that SMU, let's put it like this: if SMU's fast-paced offense gets on track, they could have a problem, Penn State, because they're just not quick strike. They're not a quick strike team.
Right.
I just don't know if SMU's line can hold up against Penn State. That's where I think the physicality, and Clemson showed that was a little bit of an issue for SMU.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's amazing to say this, but I think SMU had more like skill guys. Clemson had a good quarterback. They just had a little more physicality.
Sure.
And Clemson is not that physical this year. So
yeah,
that would be. So I'm going with Penn State. I do think if I move one game forward, Boise versus Penn State, I think Boise will beat Penn State.
I think they have a very good opportunity.
I just don't know how. I have no idea how good they really are because the conference they play in, the only tough game they played, and they played great against them, was Oregon.
Yes.
That was the first game of the year, I think.
You're talking about who?
Boise played against Oregon the first game of the year, I think.
No, Oregon played Ohio State the first game of the year, and they beat Ohio State by 1 point.
Then it was the second game of the year.
And
Oregon played Boise, though, and it was Boise. It was the second game of the year. You're right.
Yeah.
So Oregon won 37-34. Boise's good.
Boise's good. Yes. And that'll be an interesting.
If Penn
If
State
we,
wins, that'll be actually. I'd like
yeah,
to see that matchup, to be honest,
I would
because I
love
think
to
I
see
think
that.
Boise would just run right over SMU.
I do too.
I think they
Absolutely.
would be too physical.
Genty, he'll have 40 carries for like 260.
Yeah,
And
they don't
three
have the guy
touchdowns.
like you. In order to stop Genty, to have a chance at stopping Genty,
Yeah.
you need to have the better line. If your line is a wash with the other
Yeah.
team, he's
Oh,
running
he's
250, dude.
yeah, absolutely. I think he's still I
He
see him.
might still rush for 250 against the better line. Like
Yes, exactly. He's running for like 250, 260.
that dude is built, dude.
So, and he can catch the rock too.
Yeah, he's an athlete,
Yeah,
and he does TikTok videos.
he's special. Oh, I
Dude,
would too if I looked like him.
yeah, he's always doing TikTok videos.
I would too. I
But
mean,
I
what are
mean,
you
yeah,
gonna say?
listen, I was
What do
that
you
age.
if you're the head coach? What do you say to him? Hey, Genty, let's focus here, coach. Just give me the ball off tackle. I'll be fine. Shut up.
Saying I would have been so like one of those
You would
guys
have been in a TikTok video with him.
every hour of the day. Like with me, the way I am. Oh my god!
Yeah.
The coach would have been like, "Yo, you're a linebacker. Why are you in all these TikTok videos?" I was like, "Because I'm probably the handsomest linebacker there is, period, in
In the
America."
country. Yeah.
That's what I would have told him. I was the best looking linebacker in America. I mean, come on, man.
Hey,
You
you're
know?
like Jay-Z. I can make the Yankee cap more famous than the Yankees can. You'd be like, hey, I'm making linebackers more famous than linebackers will ever be.
Yo, see, God was smart. Yeah, I grew up in the '90s. That wasn't available to me because I would have been in big trouble if that was.
No, hell no.
That,
You would have been a million billionaire by now because you'd
oh,
have
I've been gazillionaire,
gazillions.
gazillionaire. I would have been making. I would have had every one of 20-year-old girls doing TikToks with me. I would
All
have
right,
been in.
hey,
I've been in their videos. I'd been
remember
like,
our parents are watching this.
that's all right. That's the only people that watch it anyway. So.
Yeah, right. Hey, so what about the Indiana Notre Dame game?
I think that's
This,
maybe the most interesting game. I mean, obviously Ohio State, Tennessee's a good game, but I think that's the game I want to see because they're both in Indiana.
bro.
Notre Dame is in Indiana, South Bend, Indiana, and Indiana's
Yes,
in Indiana.
dude.
That's the Battle of Indiana.
Man, the Midwest. I remember when I was up there in Chicago training with that company. Um, dude, there were more Notre Dame and Hoosier fans. Mostly the Hoosier fans were basketball fans.
True.
But dude, all you got to do is it's less than 200 miles away, and all you got to do is go down. I think it's what is it, US 31 or something like that. They were telling me you go down like a couple hundred miles, and boom, you're at each school, kind of a deal. And yeah, that's gonna be. You talk about passionate. There's
Oh,
gonna be, even though it's at Notre Dame, there's gonna be a lot of red and white there, unless all the Notre Dame fans, like all those that alum, they just buy all those seats out.
I've been to now they changed the stadium now. Notre Dame tore down the stadium that I watched the game at in like
Yeah,
2017 or 18 or whatever it was.
yeah.
But I've been to a game. Me and Dan Smith went to a Notre. We were recruiting a couple players
Oh, okay.
and we went to actually the guy we're recruiting was the guy we were trying to recruit some of the big time guys, but we knew he had no shot. But we were trying to get Elijah Schuman, who was a really good player. I think he was their safety, and we didn't end up getting him, but we were very, very, very
Yeah.
close. But anyway, we went to the game, and let me tell you something. I was blown away as to what was going on game day there. We were in the hotel. They have like a hotel on campus, and I guess
Okay.
all the like big alumni stay there, and all the big ex players. Their lobby, and Dan Smith would confirm this, was like a who's who of human beings. Like you're walking through there. Now, some of them are older, so I couldn't in my head, like,
Right.
sometimes it's hard to put the face on someone 20 years later. And
Sure.
like
But you knew you recognized them,
Dan
but
was
you're
pointing
like,
some of them out. Like he was always good with that shit. Like
yeah.
I was like, it was like a who's who, dude. It was crazy. And I think we just went in there to go to the bathroom, like we had to go to the bathroom or something. And but they were all in the lobby, like there was something going on there for them. But it was so crowded. There were so many people everywhere.
Yeah.
And then we get up into the stands to sit. Now, I don't know if it's like this anymore, but the old stadium had this is how you find your seat. It
Oh
was
yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? The old like
The
stone,
bleachers,
the
like
stone. It's not bleacher. It was a bleacher. It was stone.
yeah,
Like
but it has a number, no?
yes, it had
Yeah.
the number.
Uh-huh.
So it had the number, right? The rows alongside. So we're coming up, and I'm looking at the numbers, and like, let's say number one was here, number
Yeah.
two was like right here. Like you couldn't fit a whole butt,
Right.
like dudes were standing, like half the people were standing in the aisles watching the game. You watched half the people watched the game now. I watched the game like this,
Yeah.
like this. This is how I watched it.
Yeah.
And when everybody stood up, I just stood up.
Yeah.
I
Just
didn't
because
know
you had to.
you had to, dude. You would get squeezed out.
Yeah.
And then when everybody sat down, you sat down. And
Yeah.
when everybody
Yeah.
stood up, it was
Yeah.
like this the whole game. And my back was killing me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a
Yeah.
lady behind me, and I wanted to like rest my back. There was no back,
Right.
So the lady behind me is like, she's like, you could rest against my knees.
Oh.
Like, I was like, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So I would be like, I was like this, but everybody stood up. When she stood up,
Yeah. You didn't have a choice.
I have a choice. That
Yeah.
stadium was crazy, dude.
Yeah.
We didn't get up till halftime because there was nowhere to go.
Good.
There was nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to go to. I'm like, you got to go to the bathroom. He's like, yeah, I got to go to the bathroom. Like, let's get the heck out of here. Like, we got to go. Like, this is too tight for me, man. Like, I mean,
Dude.
but the atmosphere is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Who are you picking?
Dude, that's a great one.
And I have to leave in 5 minutes to get my son.
Yeah. I think I'm going Notre Dame on that. I want Indiana to win, but I gotta go Notre Dame at Notre Dame. Indiana doesn't have the experience yet. I'm going Notre Dame. Yes, they have a good football program right now, but Notre Dame they're going to win that game. I think.
I think so too. I think I'm rooting for Indiana.
I am too.
Like the coach, I just like him. But I think I'm gonna go Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's got the quarterback that's he's damn good. I mean, he was damn good at Duke last year too, and he led them to like an undefeated season. Now he's at Notre Dame.
Yeah,
quarterbacks, man, they make difference. All right, so if you goes according to plan for you, would be Oregon, Ohio State. Who would you have there?
Oregon, Ohio State. Man, now you're moving ahead. I'm going to Oregon again.
Okay, and I would have Oregon, Tennessee. So I'm going to pick Oregon. We both picked Texas. So Texas, Arizona State. Ooh, that's a tough one.
That would be yes. That little son of a gun. I think people will understand how to stop him now. I think I'm gonna go Texas with that one.
I think I'd have to go Texas just because, even though I'm going to root for Arizona State.
Right.
I same thing. Like I just, this comes down to O-line and D-line.
Correct.
And I just don't know if Arizona State has the dudes to against Texas. All right, Boise. Both of us picked Penn State, so Boise, Penn State.
Okay, let's go Boise.
I'm with you too.
I like them. I think they're legit.
I'm with you. I think I'm on the Ashton Ginty train, man. Like
me too. You've been on that since week 1, brother.
Week 1, dude.
Yep.
Sometimes you see a guy and you're just like, Bobby Alfaro. I'll tell you the other one that I nailed one time was Cam Newton.
Yeah.
We used to do the college tour. You missed out on that era.
That fiasco.
Oh, that was like a couple of year fiasco.
The fun fiasco.
We go on a college tour, and I'm like, he's like, we're figuring. He's like, I was like, let's go to Auburn Bar because like they got this quarterback and blah blah blah. They're playing South Carolina. It was his
This
first
quarterback,
and so I
just
think
a
it's
random one.
like might win the Heisman Trophy. Well, we're watching the game and he was awesome. The quarterback was Cam Newton, so
Yes.
I was right on that one. The only reason I knew about Cam Newton because his father used to message me when he was in JUCO, and like he's like, "What do you think of his film?" He's like, he was already at Florida, but then he left there.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, just send it to anybody you want. They will all take him. That's what I said.
Yeah.
I'd never seen JUCO film like that, Shane. Never.
Oh my God, dude, it was sick.
He was jumping over guys,
Bro,
throwing
he was
crazy passes.
playing against Pop Warner kids, bro.
Yeah, JUCO for him, exactly what that was. That was like Pop Warner. All right, Georgia, Notre Dame. Ooh,
Yes. Well, remember I said about Carson Beck now. His health, I think, not that the other guy can't win.
no, I don't
But
think he can.
what's that?
I don't think he can. I watched him.
Without Carson Beck?
I don't think I know people complain about Carson Beck. He's better than the next guy. There's no comparison.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't know. That's why it's hard to pick that right now with his injury. I do think if he's healthy, I just think Georgia is a better. They have better athletes up front as well as in the second and third levels. I'm gonna go Georgia either way. I just don't think. I think Notre Dame may struggle a little bit with Indiana, but
I do too.
I don't think they're going to be able to beat. This is what I hate about Notre Dame being an independent. Like it's
You don't know how
dumb
good they
in my
really are. How good are they really?
right. Yeah,
They
like
beat
they play.
USC. USC
They
sucks.
exactly. They play USC. They play all these teams that in the 80s and 90s
Right.
that were good, then. But now they're not, and they suck now. So I'm gonna go Georgia.
I'd
I
like
know
to
you
see
don't want to always agree, but
no. I'd like to see Notre Dame win. Even though growing up I was a Georgia Bulldog fan, I was a Herschel Walker fan, but
love them.
I think I got to go Georgia. First of all, I think the coach did a fantastic job, by the way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have questions, including me, if he was, but he just got that right attitude. He's just a great coach. But I think Georgia is the same thing. Like, how are they handling an SEC line? I just don't think they can handle it, dude.
Right.
I don't see it. The only outlier team that has a chance at pushing around some of these SEC lines, in my opinion, is Boise. And I only say a chance because all they do is run the ball.
Right.
And not all they do, but they love to run the ball. So even if they're a little undersized, they have practiced running the ball all
the time.
So they're going to be good at it. So
and that's where Boise, if they are going to win a national championship, they cannot get behind because I do not think, to your point right there, if these pass rushers that the SEC has can now pin their ears back and now they have to go in pass protection mode, I don't think Boise has the ability to win throwing the ball 30 times, 40 times. But anyway, we're not even there yet.
No, you're right. But Boise
I'm with you.
Well, we are there now. So we're at the semifinal.
Yep.
Oregon versus, we both said Texas, I guess.
Yeah.
Who you got?
I'm going to roll with
the O?
I think so, man.
Me too, man. I'm rolling with the O, baby.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going Oregon.
Okay. We got Boise and Georgia.
I know. This is exactly
That's the game everyone wants. Everyone wants that game.
Dude.
Everyone wants to see or can Genty run against the SEC?
SEC, yes. I think Genty gets off. I think he still gets his 200 yards or whatever, 190, whatever. Look, Uga and Kirby Smart, he comes from that tree of obviously Saban, who Saban always comes from with Belichick. I think that they quote unquote, shut Genty down and hold him under 200 yards and and they get ahead on them quick. And I think Georgia ends up pulling that game out. But Genty still only averages maybe 3.8 yards instead of 4.5 yards a carry, 5 yards a
averages
carry.
7.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying we're gonna shut him down and only allow him to average 4 yards a carry, which is still crazy. But I think they're gonna have to get out of that. I'm taking Georgia, man.
I'm gonna take Boise.
My man. Hey,
So and
don't
here's
get off
my.
that train.
I'm gonna stay in this train. I don't know that they have. I don't think that they have the guys in general to handle Georgia.
Yeah.
What I think could happen, is what happened in the Georgia Tech rivalry. Georgia is very good, but they have some flaws. And they don't have a ton of explosive receivers. The running backs now probably are a little bit better. Now they have 2 instead of the 1 because Etienne was hurt. But I think if you could force them into a game where they're frustrated, like Georgia Tech did, Georgia Tech ran the ball at them. The quarterback ran it. The running back ran it at them. And they had a hard time with it. Like they really, really had a hard time with it. I thought Georgia Tech should have beat them. I thought not that they made any real mistakes. I just thought, the chips didn't end up going their way. But Georgia Tech had them so many times. They were up 2 touchdowns. I'm going Boise. I want to see the Boise-Oregon matchup in the championship with Boise beating Oregon in the upset.
My man is not coming off that Genty train, brother. Hey, you're running with it, man. Running away. No, I'm going Oregon, obviously Georgia, and I truly believe. Oh, shiza! I'm taking Georgia over Oregon. No, I'm not. I'm going Oregon. No, I don't know what I want with that game, man. You're putting me on the spot. I'm going Georgia over Oregon. Let's go with it.
I think you're right. If Georgia gets there, Kirby Smart is not losing, in my opinion.
I'm going Georgia, Oregon over Oregon. Yeah.
I think Georgia is looking past to Oregon against Boise. They make the fatal flaw.
Yeah.
Boise sneaks in and then sneaks by Oregon. That's what I want in my world. It's probably
how great would that be, though?
By luck, they'll probably get beat by Penn State in the first game. But
no. We can't let them do that. No.
Yeah. But that's the game. I have to unfortunately run to get my son. Otherwise,
there are some important things in life, and one is your son. So that's
well. I do have to pick him up from school. Otherwise, when I do if I pick him up and I'm late, the first thing he says to me, he doesn't say hi. It's great to see you. If I'm late, he goes, you're late.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Mr. OCD. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he holds you accountable.
Oh, he's holding me accountable. I'm like, I don't want to hold myself accountable. You're holding me accountable.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm trying to pay bills. I'm trying to make sure you can continue to go to school.
Yes, I mean the college football Friendzy usually gets me about $1 each episode. So, so if Shane wants 50 cents for that, I could give it to him. But I'm sure he would be like, no.
Oh, that's funny.
But I'm gonna figure out. I'll figure it out long form. I told you I watch all these videos because I figured out short form. I figured it out. But long form, I'm watching them. I think I don't know if you noticed. I titled it differently this one. I titled it. This might be controversial, but Alabama did not belong. I'm trying. Listen. I'm talking to other obviously I'm an expert in the short form. I think any of these videos I've watched, I think as good as any of these guys telling me what to do on that.
Yeah.
But in the long form, I'm like, what do I need to do? Right? Better thumbnails. I think my thumbnails are good, but I got to get them better. Yeah. There's a little more thought. That's the word. Thought that goes into it. Whereas shorts, I could use my I have a quirky personality where I could title things. I could title things or do voiceovers. And sometimes they're funny, just quirky, and it works out. And long form, you gotta. It's about keeping attention, and I think we're really good at it. There are other things that get attention, not just how entertaining we are, but getting them there,
Yes, you got to get them there to at least watch. That's why the first 5 minutes are huge.
Yep.
The
I think we're
first 5
starting to do a
minutes.
better job of that. Like we have to I think we have to figure out. I think we're figuring it out. Like we're trying to come in right away with some stories and hard hitting. I think that's the key. Like this was a good. I mean, listen. I wish Twitter paid because Twitter right now we have 312 viewers live.
Yeah.
I'm a Twitter. We crush it. That was always my biggest platform. It's just Twitter. You don't get paid off of it. Like they don't have a. Elon needs to get a system for this. You know. Like,
but why would he do that when it happens for free and organically? Like,
yeah,
that's how he stays rich. All right, hey, get out of here,
It's great talking to you.
We can definitely divulge into this more. But yeah, man, be safe.
Great episode.
Absolutely, love it, brother. You take care.